We've got audio. Pass this over here. Perfect. Let us begin. Fix this here. Very well. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, and everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, sunny, actually very pretty day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being the 26th of Shavat, the last Shabbat of Shavat of the year 5994, belonging to the 14th of February of the year 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 84. You may not be seeing it now because there are some flowers. I'm going to push them over, but that's why you maybe cannot see the number well there. Very well. I'm going to start by greeting those who have had a birthday during this week, which are as follows: Sandra Viviana Herrera Escobar, Colombia. Luz Marina Zabaleta Sierra. She is from the Isle of San Andres, Colombia. They sent me a little message to give her a message of hope because she is getting well from her knee. We send you a great big hug. May you get well soon. Jose Francisco Herrera, Colombia. Julia Rodriguez Diaz, Spain. Gustavo Botero, Argentina. Jaime Lopez de la Cruz, Guatemala. And tomorrow, in other words, when the sun goes down tomorrow, will be the birthday of Brian. But we won't celebrate it today because he prefers that we celebrate it next Shabbat, because precisely Roblero family's not here. He wants to celebrate it also when they are present all together. So then they will return from Guatemala this week. So then today we shall kind of, sort of, celebrate his birthday a bit, but next Shabbat we'll celebrate his birthday even more amongst us, because tomorrow is the real day of his birthday. Either way, happy birthday, Brian. Brian is turning 23 years old. Incredible. And also today, it's the day of St. Valentine's. I don't know who St. Valentine's was, some saint from the paganism, we don't care, but they call it the day of love and friendship. So a very happy St. Valentine's birthday to all those who are in love or about to be in love and all that. I could care less if it's pagan. I could care less about all that. I don't care. We human beings, in one way or another, tradition, paganism, or religion, or the Catholic saints, I don't even know who the fuck St. Valentine's was, but they decided to call it the day of love. So then a very happy birthday for all those who are loving. I'm filled with flowers here. This huge one here, vase, is a gift from Madeline. So then, Madeline, many thanks for all those flowers, roses, and everything, and the rest, this, and that. It's from the lineage Martinez. So then, many, many thanks for the flowers. They're precious, Madeline, and the Martinez lineage. Very well. I'd like to present some gifts. This gift here is from Josias and Graciela, who sent us this. Which is a tree that says 35 years of matrimony, which are equivalent to 420 months of hugs, 1826 weeks of happiness, and 12,883 days of being together, 6,792 hours of love, a blessed lineage, and without counting, a whole lot of happy memories. A story, a love story that never ends. Happy 35th anniversary. Many thanks, Josias and Graciela. It is precious. It's twisted, straight. I think it is. Do you see it straight? Yeah, a little bit more. There it is. There it is. I'll put it back up right there before the microphone perfectly well. It is precious. There it is. Very pretty, very pretty. Okay, this gift is from Jenny. She gave us this guitar made by hand. It's glass with golden accents. That says from gold, precious ornaments, precious little guitar of purple haze. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the guy that made purple haze, which is called Prince. I don't know, but it is very pretty, and they gave Leslie, I believe that basically the same brand. These dolphins here, they're precious, spectacular, very beautiful. This couple of dolphins, precious, also glass. We'll place it right there. The Martinez lineage gave us this to put together with Leslie, which are Legos. And you've got the word love, which is also LVE. It's got 791 pieces to put together, and it is precious. Actually, Brian is down to put it together. It is spectacular from the Martinez lineage. Many thanks. We'll show the flowers here. These are precious flowers. It's all very, very pretty. I'd like for the number to be seen of what we'll talk about today, number 54. Well, that's fine. What beautiful flowers. Well, you already know that it is number 54. You can see it somewhat there, give or take. It's fine. Spectacular. And this is the heart of the picture. The heart of the picture. Spectacular. Let's place it right here. Right there by the flat earth. Who's covering it? Someone covering it? Oh, this one here. Okay. We sit on the flat earth. Oh, what? Hold on. It's kind of heavy, this heart. Likes to eat. Kind of heavy. There it is. But there's the heart. I don't know if we can see it all that well. Yeah, you can see it. Are they way past that? Okay, there it is. And now, there's no light on there. Well, okay, there we are. With the lamps, it covers it. Anyway, I have to present something else here. Maybe not. This is, well, no, that's fine. Very well. So then a very happy birthday and happy St. Valentine's for everyone. Time to go out and look for the moon. This month is on its way out this Wednesday at sunset. This Wednesday, February 18th at sunset, you will see the moon. It is the 30th day, so it'll be very easy to see whether we see it or not. You already know whether we see it or not. If it's the 29th day, we'll cross over to the next month because it is there, but we can go out and look for it and take picture. It'll be this Wednesday. Wednesday at sunset. The month begins on Thursday. And how is the name of the following month? Ale. Ale says that he is going through a small... Oh, he's not. Okay, whom do we ask then? Okay, you. Yeah, we'll ask you. What's the name of the following month? What's the name? Month. It's the easiest of them. Oh, come on. No. That already passed. What is the name? It's the easiest of them all. I'll stay here all day. Easiest of all day. I'll give you a very obvious hint. It is Adar, to give. To give in Spanish, Adar. Time to go out and give. So then this Thursday, February 19th, is the first day of Adar. Now, the equinox will take place on March 20th. And March 20th will be the first of the following month, which means that when the equinox takes place, the moon of Adar's month has already disappeared. What does that mean? That there will be a second month, which is the month of Adar the second. Adar the second will have this year Adar the second, or Adar 2, Adar the second. So then we'll have this month, we'll have a month of Adar the second, and then barely after that we begin the new year. So then I'm letting you know that there will be an extra month, the 13th month. These calendars that God made are not perfect. It would seem that it's all perfect. Nothing is perfect. He's got to be adding another month. There's no other way. There's no other way. It's all irregular, like everything has been in the Bible. Everything irregular. A person wrote to me this week saying, Christian, I listen to you every now and then because it really calls my attention what you say, but I cannot explain except the insanity that you preach. I prefer to believe that it's a good God. Although I see what you say, I'm not going to get into that crazy insanity with that logic because it's a never and a point of no return, and I cannot walk through that path, even if it sounds, if it has logic what you preach. And oh well, that's the way it is. But he does not want to try out the fruit of wisdom of the tree of science of good and evil. He cannot see it. Many people prefer to be blind. In the end of the path, now no one will be blind. They will all see, but for now, it is sometimes painful to see. Very well. So then, remember that this year we'll have another month. Very well. What a disaster. Boca's game disaster. We'll play tomorrow again. Whom do we play against? Oh, I forgot. Whom do we play against. I didn't write it down. Tomorrow we play in our field against... Okay, I'm thinking... Oh, I can't. I forgot whom we're playing. Well, somebody will write it there in the chat. Yeah, I also knew. And I forgot. Whom? Oh, Platense. Oh, okay, we play against Platense then. Okay, but I already know. We're a disaster. We bought a player, then we don't want him because, wow. No one came this week. We're going to buy a very good player from Mr. Spectacular. No, wait. The cat. No. It was all fixed for that, but they found a little problem in his knee, and Boca said, no, then we won't. And everything fell through. It was complete stupidity. We should have bought him either way. No one is perfect. If those that we bought with problems are all injured, Cavani, he was all right, and we bought, well, anyway, a whole bunch of people, because they were good, they never played. The other one they say that is injured, he played all of last year in Estudiantes, all the games. No, he's injured. He says he's got a little problem. That's the way it is in the world that we live in. Very well. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh one is. This is the secret to be able to understand something of the scripture. Something. If you don't understand this, never will anyone understand absolutely anything. This is fundamental to open this book. Those who do not want to understand this point or cannot understand it are blind, as the word says that the Creator left us. Wisdom and Discipline 54. We shall start off with this once and for all. I'll read the text of the invitation. I've got 3 questions to answer. Proverbs 4:18, it was the second text that I was doubting on choosing. I told you there were 3 texts that I loved in chapter 4 of the invitation. We already used one. Now we shall use the other one. Proverbs 4:18. Yet the path of the righteous is like the light of the morning, which is in augmentation until it is perfect. How many times have we repeated this text? It is actually a fabulous text. We have used it everywhere. The whole world uses it. The world that uses the scriptures uses this text. Very known scripture, text of the scriptures. We'll get to that text. Very well. First question that they asked me. Hello, Christian. The preaching of last week, it says, take care of your heart. And I have a question about that. Since I live in a country that's very liberal, there's all kinds of things here that will leave your mouth open. My question is, how do you see friends with benefits? In English, they call it friends with benefits. And they say FW B, an FWB, right? Friends with benefits. Friends with benefits. In other words, they're friends. It's not a relationship that is stable. They're not going out. They're not dating. They're not husband and wife. They're just friends. But they have sex. That is what it says. That's what it means. In case you didn't know, my question is, how do you see friends with benefits? Those that they're friends, they do some things together, but everyone has their own home and their own life. And when they have the needs of sharing a bed, they get together. 20 years ago, I used to see it in old people that would live in an asylum, but now I see it in people of 40 and 50 years old that have a bad experience with divorce, and they call it friends with benefits. I hope that you can answer me soon with the wisdom that you have. A great big hug to your lineage with lots of love, Semper Fi. Well, friends with benefits. From the point of view that is religious, I have nothing to object because the law which Yahweh left us, it is without any effect and it makes no sense. So then here we're not going to say whether it's a sin or not because it's not a sin. Because sin does not exist. What exists is wickedness and good and evil. That does exist. Injustice and justice. And within those opposite poles, there is an enormous gray that we have to see whether it's convenient or not. But here it's not about whether it's sin, I'm going to offend God, no. God has offended every day of our lives. We should be more offended. There's no way that we can offend God in anything. That's stupid for them, that what they taught us. Oh, we offend God. How are we offending God? In what? In what do we offend God? In fact, we offend God and we say that He's good. He should be offended if we say He's just. He should be offended because God is all the contrary. So then, there's no way that we can offend God in anything. In fact, He offends us with everything He's got now. Taking out the religious point of view of sin or not sin that does not exist. Is it good for us to have sex without any sort of relationship, emotional or commitment? Well, here comes the problems. You will find in the world of internet, of psychology and all the rest, that it is debated, this concept is, and it is more negative than positive. The concept of friends that get together to have sex. The problem is that humans are very complex, very complex. The human relationships is very complex also. We're all different. We have equal things. We have different things. But we have many things in common. And in common, even though you may not see it that way, we are programmed very similarly. All of us programmed to grow old, for example. There's no one that is not programmed to grow old. And we also have a programmed brain, programmed by the Creator, to have a couple, a partner. That's the reality. It's not that we decide to have one because we discovered it. No, no, no. Our system is made to have a couple, a partner. If we're alone, it is something which goes against nature. That is clear. That's why there are two marked genders, at least during this stage of 6,000 years of creation, is what I'm referring to, during which we are programmed of men having dominion over women, to grow old and to both suffer, and also obligatorily, although we may go against the programmed nature, to have a couple, a partner. Now, a sexual partner without any sort of feeling or attachment is literally almost impossible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it's almost impossible. You can read this in all kinds of reports and what the people say and all the rest. Every time there is a sexual relationship between friends, it's most likely that one of the two or both develop feelings for the other. Either the man starts to like the woman way more than what he liked her when they were friends, or less. But let's say positively that he starts to like her more, or the woman starts to see things that before when they were just friends. And I'm not talking about sex with strangers. The basic question is sex with friends, not with strangers. That's a different category already. If you go to the club, you don't even know each other, and you have a one night stand, and then you go home. You never even ask yourselves what each other's names are. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the question is friends where there was first friendship, they know each other, they have trust of friends, and they go up into the next step to have sex. Well, one thing I could assure you of what I understand and what the people reflect, that friendship is lost for good or for evil. It is lost. It's either going to become a stable relationship that they'll get married later, or it'll become people that hate each other. Tell it to you like that, but that which was friendship is lost. Because when there is sex, I'm not saying that matrimonies can't be friends. No, no, no. I'm talking about regular friendship is lost. It's like you go onto a different terrain and they're not the friends that they were before. Because you've already advanced into intimacy that you no longer see each other as friends. And they start for emotions to mix up and the feelings. There's no way to avoid this. There's no way to avoid it. They start to mix together. The emotions do. And when they do, then possession starts to take possession. When there's possession, then there's jealousy. Technically, friendship with benefits means that they can have sex, but there is no commitment, which means they're friends. The commitment is free. Today, if A is friend of B, and they have an arrangement that they have to have sexual benefits, although they may have sex, it doesn't mean that B or A can have sex with D, with C, and E. There's no need for him to tell them, and if he tells them, it shouldn't affect them because they're friends. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend. There's not a commitment. There isn't. Nothing. They're just friends. That's where the problem is. That is where the problem resides, because sex between friends should be, in paper, free. On paper, it should be free, without one getting offended if one of the two goes and have sex with some other friend. And then another friend, then they get together. Today I can't because I have to go out with so-and-so. I can't today. But if that happens, then a whole bunch of jealousy starts around, and they're not so much friends. There's no such thing as it's free. It isn't so. You can read it, just get into to read it. So then, what do I conclude? I have not arrived at my conclusion. I'm still presenting the problem, because it is a problem. The problem is that they start to mix up. I don't know how God made us. Maybe He is that way. And it's the whole grave problem that we have, both Him and ourselves, that we like something, we take possession, and then we become jealous, and this is ours, this is mine. Because couples, which are a necessity in us, it creates a compromise, a commitment, and a possession. That's why there's jealousy later. But that possession, you analyze it coldly, it's as if to say, she is a slave of his, because he is the possessor of her, or backwards too. Because when you're saying you're mine or you're mine, there's already a problem. We're no longer individuals. I have an owner now. No one wants to have an owner, because those who have an owner, who says I have an owner, means that you're a slave. And love is to enslave each other. It sounds horrible, but that is what love is. It's a commitment that is absolutely integral, one with the other. That is what love is. Coldly, put it down on paper, but it sounds a bit kind of like sin, but I mean, that already goes way past of what you're looking for. Right, but if on paper, but in IRL, is nice, because there's the need for that. That's why it's nice. Is the need for that. You want to be with the other, not alone. You want to possess and be possessed. And you don't have a problem of saying, you know what, you're going to be the owner. Yeah, I want to be such and such as owner and be a part of that other person also. It's an interaction. When love enters between the couples, they forget about the cold part, which is just the contract and all the rest. They forget about all that. And so what enters is what is the reality of what love is, which are just friends, that they love each other and they want to live together, and they could care less if one possesses the other, one possesses the other, and one is the territory of the other, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. They want that. It's been forever that women have looked for a man to obtain her. We're speaking in older terms here. For a man to own her. Because a woman without a husband, it's not that she was worthless. She had no weight in society. If she was young and a virgin, she was very much desired by men. But if she was already a widow, or her husband had left, she was nothing. She couldn't even get a job, nothing. Nobody would want her. Because the value of women would reside. She's looking for the protection of a man. Protection for the man to own her. Widows would be taken care of by... Of course, yes, exactly. Completely. That's the problem in this world. That's the way we were brought up and designed. With this concept in our mind that we cannot escape. With modern times, now women are a lot more free and a lot more with less tendencies to be possessed in every aspect by men. Because when I'm referring to that a woman is owned by man, it's practically like a slave. He could hit her, shut her in. We have to see how the Arabs treat their women. That is what we'll have to see. They cover her all up. They shut her in from society. They can do whatever they want, but women has a limited action. They can still not even drive in many countries of Arabia. That's just not allowed. For many years, women could not even vote here. I'm telling you so you understand. Women have always been a zero to the left. A zero to the left. Men could have many women. A woman could not have many husbands. No, of course not. A man was an acquirement. We see it in the texts, even in the commandments. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. It was something which was a property of the man. They weren't the same, equal to men. It was a property. You shall not covet the house or the woman. There's no text that says the woman should not covet the man of your best friend or neighbor. No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. So then, now we see things differently, but it does not leave out that our brain is either way formatted in the same way. That's the way it is. We are fighting against the format of the brain. Even in Argentina, women change their names, their last name. Why does she have to change her last name? Because she's the possession of the man. That's the way it is. Whether you like it or not. My mom, I'll give my mom's example. Her name was Evangelina Storto. She got married with my dad and she became Evangelina de Silva. Already to be de means of in Spanish. Of Silva. It says of Silva. Then it got a little better later. Then it's not of Silva. How ugly. You start to look at it now and it's ugly. Now it's not of, but directly they take the of. So it doesn't sound too bad. They just changed it. Evangelina Silva would be her name, Evangelina Silva. But when I was little, it wasn't that way. It was always of Silva. Of. In your countries, isn't it so? Of. In today's day and age, there's a tendency that women keep their own name, which I think is excellent. But the last name of the children, what last name are they going to use? The fathers. That is pure machismo. That's the same thing. That's the way it is in the programming. Same thing. Because women cannot use their own last name. It is the last name of the man. What thanks is that? Because we have to see this coldly, and it's if you see it coldly, it's nauseous when the last name should be at least dual last name. That's minimal, indicating that one last name is worth as much as the other. Minimally, it should be dual. I was always complaining about last names. It should be a dual last name. You want to take it to its maximum level, then the son would have to choose what last name, the father's or the mother's. Since it's a choice with anything, but minimally, both last names. Okay. This indicates that we, the human beings, are born equally to how they were born millions and thousands of years ago. Our setting of our mind originally of how the cables are connected in our mind is the same. We learn to start to reset all that through education. But the resetting of our mind, those are the curses that Yahweh has placed. That's why we grow old. That's why we need to live as a couple. We need it to live as a couple. Sometimes the cables are crossed or we're resisted or things happen in our childhood that they turn into, for example, with different sexual, to be homosexual, which is an incorrect word, for them to like the same sex or the other sex. It's not what's normal. It's that every gender is inclined to the opposite sex. So then we get to sex itself. It is almost literally impossible that friends, being friends, could lay together and they'll be left the same than before they had sex. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Maybe your mind coldly, it should work by saying, look, I live at home, she lives at her home. I don't want a commitment. That's the idea. Sex with benefits is not to go into commitment to be free, and that doesn't work. The jealousy comes in, possession problems, a whole bunch of things enter. Do you know where it could work, give or take? I think give or take. In couples that are old, way old, I'm talking about past 50, for example, that everyone has their own home, and that actually they've already gone through situations of couples, and they're not looking for a couple. They just want sexual pleasure, but it has to be in both for that to take place, and for them to want just sex. They don't want attachments, no strings attached, no emotions. They don't want that. They don't want a couple. They want to live alone. They don't want to bring anyone to their home, not even to mix their children's. Let's say they have children. They don't want to mix their children's with their sexual partner. And they each have their own home. There's an arrangement. There's every now and then we call each other. We meet each other. Either I go to your house or you come to mine and we have sex. And then later, we're just friends. We're just acquaintances and that's it. Could that work? That would be one of the best cases for it to work. When they both understand clearly that they don't want a couple. But when a person starts to develop feelings and emotions towards the other person, that's where the problem is. You can read it in all the commentaries that people write and say, I was doing great, and the other person started to demand. Why is there demands? Because she wants more commitment. And backwards also, the woman can say, I was perfect, I haven't had another boyfriend. See what happens. I had a boyfriend because I had friends with benefits. Aside from the boyfriend, that would be that she's. But I don't care about that. I'm not going to get into that. Friends with benefits. But of course, the man starts to fall in love with the woman. She wants to have her more and more time. It's not enough once a week or twice or maybe longer. It's not enough. Wants to invite her out for them to eat, wants to invite her, wants to go out, and the other one says, no, 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 I'm not going to be seen in public with you because we're not going out. We don't want to go out with you. And that's where the situation gets ugly. That's the problem. It doesn't exist, almost, I don't want to be determining, it almost does not exist. To be pure sex, taking out all line of emotion and sentimentalism, only animal sex, what humans need, because humans, aside from all of the romanticism, and that they love women, and many men also, and romanticism in couples, taking that out, just pure animal sex, dividing the emotion, it's almost impossible. There's always emotions, there's always feelings, and it's always developed more either feelings or nauseousness is developed. One of the two can be developed. Rejection or that they want more. And you'll read in the forums that they say, that's how we started, now we're married, we have children. Because that's what happens, that's what takes place. They start that way, they're just friends. They had not advanced to boyfriends, and they said, no, we don't want to be boyfriend or girlfriend, just to have fun. Some time passes, and that fun, they start to develop emotions and feelings, and they say, look, we get along so well as friends, why don't we just become a formal couple? They go to a different level, and then they get married. In the forms of what I've read, to answer this question, I didn't want to just give my opinion. I wanted to see what happens in the world. Not religious, that I could care less about it in the real world. Many, I would say almost of what I found, almost 50% end up in a serious relationship. What does that indicate? That they develop the feelings even if they didn't want to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even if they didn't want to, they end up developing them because they're the couple, they get along, and then say, why don't you stay over? And then tomorrow, what are you going to do? What are you doing tomorrow? No, wait, hold on, I just had sex and I'm leaving. No, but tomorrow, are you free tomorrow? No, because I have to go and see the other one. What do you mean? How are you going to say that? Do you understand what I'm saying? That does not exist. An animalisticness like that, and then later, if I've seen you, I can't remember you. As friends, talking about friends, if you have one-night stands at a club, that's a whole bunch of other problems. Enormous ones, those that don't know each other, and they're the one-night stands. They just meet each other, they have sex, and then they're gone, a whole bunch of problems. Our psyche is not designed or prepared or written for that type of relationship. That is the greatest problem. That our psychology is not designed for that type of relationship, and there's a void. You want to have a relationship, and then somebody cuts them off, and they form a relationship, and mentally either one cuts them off or the other one. So then there's an attachment. Attach and detach. And generally, it doesn't work. Now, this has nothing to do with sin or not sin. What am I telling you? What is my advice? My advice is you have to see it for yourselves. That's the way it is. Sometimes it is better to be alone than with a bad company. I'll tell it to you like that. I'll tell it to you like that because sometimes you end up with a broken heart, even worse, even more devalued, or with wanting more, and of course they cut you off. Or you have to cut off something that the other person, or you don't have any guarantee that the other person is not going to fall in love with you. Let's suppose that you're just looking for sex with friends, and you don't want any relationship whatsoever. What is the guarantee that the other person's not going to start falling in love with you? Then you have a whole bunch of problems. And then you're going to have to tell them, look, I don't like you. It was just sex or nothing. They say one of the first rules is to create clear laws about how this will take place and the boundaries, how the relationship of friends with benefits will take place. It's not that it's more natural, anybody else does what they want. No, it is so many times the frequency, complete freedom of saying no and of going out with anyone else. Many say we have sex without kissing. I don't know why kissing make the person even more attached. Sentimentally, they attach the person even more. I don't know. It's an entire world. It's an entire world. So then the question is, what do I think? What I think is that you have to use your intelligence and see what is beneficial for you, and for it to not be worse than what you expect it to. I understand that sex is a necessity that God placed so that we have a partner. If it weren't for that need, there wouldn't be any partners whatsoever, any couples whatsoever. That's what it is. What reason would it be that you to be friends? But if there's that sexual attraction, it is only because he wanted for his creation to grow, or else it would have never grown, ever. So then, I cannot give you an advice that is determining. What I can tell you, in my point of view, it doesn't work. In my point of view, it doesn't work. What does work is friends, in that it advances to some sort of dating, per se, knowing that if it doesn't work, then they won't go back to be the friends that they were before. They won't be back. But it's okay that they experience, because I can already see that they cannot go into commitment with somebody, and even if they're older, knowing that there won't be a good chemistry. So then that experience is what they have to go through. That's all I have to say. I have nothing else to say about this. Psychology says that it doesn't work. The psychologists say that it doesn't work because our mind does not accept that I have sex and then that one or that person can have sex with someone else. They don't accept it. There's something within that stays right there, and it would seem to be something that is ours. That is how human beings are. We are absolutely possessive, jealous, for that very reason. It doesn't work. We were called like robots. At least in this world, it will never work. Not so much now. Even though the world is moving towards individuality. Exactly. See what I'm saying? For example, here in the chat, they were saying that it's not used in Chile or Mexico to use the of in the last name of the husband. But Google says the contrary. What happens is that women now have a partner for a short time, right? Or they just get together, right? Or they get together. They just move in together, right? And so now it's invalidated to belong to someone, but it's always been used to belong to a man because it would assure you, in the eyes of the rest, that you weren't just some chick, that you had many different men. That would give you a name. You didn't have an honor otherwise. Exactly. Honor would be achieved if you were married, the wife of. Exactly. And some single woman would look bad like that with their own last name. And in times of my time, or a single mother would be completely scratched out as in front of society. They would say that's a single mother, completely denigrated. Right, of course. But what society is, with the customs upwards, oh yeah, wow. Inadmissible. It was a stain impossible to ever take away. A woman that would be with many men, or that had couples for a short time and then would move on to another one, is not that it was not an honest person or honorable. More than just sexually, they didn't see her as good for anything, right? Sometimes women couldn't even vote, just imagine. And even if we're moving towards equality, you can see it even more common, even in Argentina. Now, they don't use the of or to use the last name of the husband. almost all of us are using our own last name, right? Which I don't see it as wrong. I see it as excellent. But there's still existing the possession, the jealousy. It's impossible to take that out. That's why we can make certain things better, but the way of thinking they can't change it. Women that still have their own last name, they can't live alone in this world. They need the protection, the house, and the business of men or somebody that accompanies them. We cannot live alone. Well, we can live alone, but economically speaking, it's very difficult. It is very difficult. It is very difficult. But look at the case that they were telling me of Susana Jimenez, for example. An interviewer, actress, very well known in Argentina, very rich. She got married with a guy that stole from her because a woman that type, she has money already. She has to be careful whom she marries, right? She married Monzon many. Exactly, because she lost millions of dollars. She says, now I have the partner that I want, but I will not get married so that they don't take my money. That is the problem, is that we are a whole bunch of emotions, and the people take possession, even for the friends at a distance. Even with the friends, they fight because of jealousy and possession and everything. So then, the only way that this could work, give or take, is I've already told you, men and women that have a very good economical situation, that they don't depend on each other, and that they don't want a relationship where they have to be a husband or wife. They don't want that. They just want sexual pleasure, and precisely they found a partner that way, and maybe they get along. There are many cases that way. I read. Oh, I just hit the microphone. Many cases like that, that they get along, they don't want to live together, they don't want anything. But when they're horny, they get together until they're no longer horny, and then they get together again later. And that's just that they could have multiple partners also. What works, what doesn't work, it'll depend on every person. It is very complicated, and you have most of the chances that it'll go wrong for you, that you end up worse than how you started, with your feelings on the floor, with DHSs, the whole gamma. I want you to know, think about it, I could get many conflicts here, and I could make many conflicts in the other person. That's the way it is. Very well. It all sounds excellent, but in reality, it's not applied all that well. Second question. Hello, Christian and Lineage. My question is, we know that we have not gone up into the vacuum cleaners. You don't know what it is. Not been poked. Again, in case somebody doesn't understand. It is the vacuum cleaners. We're talking about the cup of wine 19. Do you understand what we're saying? We have not gone up into the vacuum cleaners, yet they're placing that product in fruit, meat, and water. We don't give a fuck what happens. That would be Yahweh to blame. If I go on and buy it and it's all infected, whatever, I take it as it's not infected. That is what I want you to record in your mind. One thing is to take the decision for me to get poked. The other is what they placed in the food that I'm going to eat. That is outside of your control, and you should not even worry about it. Anything that in the normal life that surrounds you, which are the fruits, vegetables, or the meat that you get together, it has any sort of problems, Yahweh is to blame. Worryiness caused the DHS in itself. Forget about it. I could care less. I could care less what it has. I could care less. Just like the Messiah answered. He says, what you eat ends up in the latrine. He said, you wash your hands, and you're worried that my disciples don't wash their hands before they eat, or things like that, or that it's with seeds that were designed differently, or that they had this product with. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. In fact, even if it's bad for you, don't worry about it. What am I trying to say? That worrying for it is even worse than what it can contain. Because one thing that it could be just lies, and the other is that it could be that whatever it has or that it doesn't have, it could be absolutely nothing. And the worst of it all is that to be eating, knowing that it could have something that is not doing good for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? No. Take out that worriness. We do what is out of reach. This product, no. To eat is something else. So then, no, don't worry about absolutely anything. In other words, do water, buy bottled water. You don't have to buy water, tap water. I mean, they're simple things. But don't be worried. What are they? Did this and that? No, that's all part of forming a new conflict in your mind. And the next question that comes will have the same answer. Here it comes. Shalom, Christian. What would you do if your children were like a couple months old, or maybe a year, or barely, or maybe a year old, given the case that they're talking about massacres of things like that? Maybe he's talking about the Epstein files. Would you not suffer for them, or would you be at peace? I ask this because to know and see how that really bothers me, to know that the insensibility is notorious. What would you do if one of them would have been one of yours? Well, would you be, it's what it says, would you be sleeping at night? Could you sleep at night knowing that they don't suffer, that they wouldn't suffer, or they would disappear because they don't have any feelings? Or, and that today, by knowing whether we have eaten meat of these innocent children, what would be your attitude in knowing the strong character that you have? How would you work pleased? Actually, all these movies, it's crazy. It's enough with that. They did we had already, there's been a case done against this horrible God. It's enough. The question is as follows. I've already given the pay attention. It is, we should not even give the even least the importance what you hear in the news, this and that, and then there's something going around that is dangerous. Exactly the same thing. This, or that the end of the world is coming now, or the rapture. It's exactly the same thing. It is fear that they feed you. This is the dog shit that make you eat. I could give a fuck. In the very least, what comes out in the news, I know what this world is. So then how will I worry? First of all, we don't even know if there's anything true. Even if there were, we could care less in these archives that they're showing. Not just those archives. It's not those archives. Then they have the videos, the conspiracy theories of what the Masons are doing and what they're doing here and doing there in the secret society. And that they do some rites. Look about how this is designed. Yahweh designed all this, by the way. Oh, they start an anguish of what the world does, what the secret societies do, and that they do. That is only the end goal of that, is to cause anguish for you. And I'm not talking that we're people without being sensible. I'm saying that this world bombards you with all types of bullshit, with all types of dog shit news, so that you cannot live at peace. If it's that, or is the other, or wars, or rumors of wars, or killings, or that this will go up and this is what's coming because there's this and that, some plague, or what the secret societies do, could be your children. We cannot. The end goal of this is that you feel terror. That is the end goal. And I've taught this already in the other previous subjects. We should not care about that. Zero, like if it doesn't exist. But are you saying that we should be insensible, close our eyes, or like Freud says? Was it Freud? What did he say? It says that when one, what is it? What is the effect? Caught or cold. Think about it. What is the effect that Freud says? That when one does not want or fears or whatever, you close your eyes. Do you know, Brian? No? No? Justice World Syndrome? Okay. So then, it's not that I'm saying we have to be happy by closing our eyes like an ostrich. When there are many problems, they just make a hole and they put their head in the ground. No, that's not what I'm saying. Is that all this whole world is conspired against us, against you, against me, against the world. Why did nothing happen to us during this whole situation of 19? Because we didn't believe all that. What happened in us, in your case, I don't know, with the eternal truth, we were not afraid of anything. We didn't even have to be careful with people. We could hug people. The just world fallacy. Who said that? Sigmund Freud said that or not? The fallacy of the righteous world. Read me the definition of the righteous world. What's it say? The fallacy of the just world. I'm not teaching that, mind you. I'm teaching something else is what I'm teaching. But oh well, it could sound as that. The fallacy of the just world. Well, okay, let's see, what do I find here? The AI says the fallacy or hypothesis of the just world. It's a cognitive segment by Lerner where it is believed that the world is just and that the people believe what they deserve. What is good is punished, what is good is rewarded, and what is bad is punished. It takes the person to cope with injustices to keep a sensation of security. I just found what Angelina told me. Precisely that if a person is violated, oh, she deserved it. If a person's get there, oh, she was always in the bad paths. He knew that he should not go to those places. So then if there's an accident, oh, he drove very violently. He deserves it. So then we rationalize everything. If a nation is slaughtered, oh, they were evil. So then you rationalize. Everyone deserves what they obtain. And those that nothing happens because God protects them, because they're good, righteous. We're not like other people that are going through that. I am teaching something that is completely different to that. I am teaching that we are bombarded with bad news on a permanent basis only to make us go into terror, into a mental problem that takes us to a whole bunch of conflicts and that they become ailments. And we live terrified so that we cannot take out, not even joy from ourselves, because we see ourselves surrounded on a permanent basis of dangers. If it's not this, it is the secret society, so that God is watching me, or that God punishes me, or that God comes, or that I'm a sinner and I'm hiding, or else the big brother is watching right now, this very moment, is listening through the microphone, and I feel persecuted, and I try to hide and be protected, or else, or if they impose those kinds of the, like the vacuum cleaners are getting poked, or they put that into the ailments. I don't even know what to eat because I start to earn this craziness of what is that water? What does that water have? And this and that. Let me look for the food to be organic. I'll pay more, 10 times. I'll pay $8 for the organic ones instead of a beautiful one that is $1. But this one's organic. Stop fucking around. Don't buy anything organic. It's all lies. That organic, it's such a lie, just like the other. It's all a lie. I want you to understand that you live a reality. It's all a lie. Don't pay an extra dollar for something organic. Not $1, nothing extra. Oh no, but this, what? Shove it up your ass. No, but what about this? We could give a fuck. Not because they deserve it or not. The world is against us in the news. So it's not the fallacy of a righteous world. No, this world is unjust completely. What I have is that it not to leave for those news to advance towards me. That's why the old people are always eating. They're all with the news. Oh, so somebody got killed. This person got violated. This happened. And they eat the news. They eat their news. Don't watch another fucking newscast. You'll be a lot happier and you'll learn a lot more things than those that are always watching for the last news. I'm not saying that you live. No, don't live in Disneyland. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you hear the news, watch them, watch over them, and if in the moment that you notice that it's affecting you and it made you feel bad, you felt an oppression, or you felt fear, then you've gone way past. It's done the effect that it should not have done. If in the moment that you feel fear or anger, you read way too much, and it made the effect that precisely they were looking for you to be afraid or angry. Either one of the two is fine. Because they want you to get afraid or get angry. For you to not stay in your world tranquil, in your inner peace. They want to take you out of your inner peace, so they provoke you the entire time. Those are Yahweh's tactics. He designed them. That's how he keeps all human beings terrified. Don't give a fuck about it. They say tomorrow's the end of the world. Then let it be the end of the world. That's it. It's over. The same thing as if to say there is some bug that's coming and there's no way to escape. Don't believe it. What is the cure of it is to don't believe anything. Because they don't have one sole proof of the Epstein archives that are true. They have nothing. It's the same thing. The end of the world. That some angel appeared and said this and that. It's the same thing. That some angel that is next to you writing all of your actions, everything you do. That there's this coming from outer space, and that the Mayan calendar, that the eternal truth said 15th of October 2011, and everything. Exactly. In fact, the only thing is that we know that we're going to die. What are you protecting from? What are you protecting yourself from? Actually, it's a stupidity. Those two things that you asked me, I want you to, those that asked me to think it over and say, yes, I'm going to change. I don't worry about what food has, and I don't care. And I don't think that they said that they're eating kids or whatever, or that the food that I have may have children. Just about thinking about that. It's crazy. What is it your fault? Some crazy that's not happening. No one's eating children because we're talking about millions of people to feed, and they would have to have millions and millions of children to feed us all. It's not a business. It is better a cow than a baby. It's complete stupidity. Don't believe that. Take that out of your mind and start to live inner peace that you don't care, that all that is work, lies, and the traps of Yahweh. Now that it's true or false, you could give a fuck. It's all like an irreality. Even if it is true, you have to see it as if it's not real. Just like that, I'll tell it to you like that. Irreality, as surreal. If you learn to separate that the surroundings of this reality could be surreal, because you don't have one sole evidence that we have lived thousands of millions of years before. You don't know if this reality started 100 years ago with all of us. We're the only generation that ever existed, and all the rest was invented by Yahweh. He subjugated us with all the story. And you're going to say, no, but the houses, it could all be made up, all made by Yahweh, and the ruins and everything done by Yahweh. And He placed us here in the last 100 years to live this. So your mind opens. I'm showing you this. They subjugated us in this reality, and they painted this whole story backwards. That evidently, the more you look, it may seem that it's real because there's this and that. It could all be created information and subjugated to this generation, the only one that existed. You don't know that. I don't know that. So then, don't worry about anything. Don't you worry about anything. Worry about you starting to be a better person. Not to try to bring justice of things that they say, oh, what the secret societies are doing, they eat the children. Then there must be lots of children. What if it were your children? No, it won't happen if it's your children. Tell you, it won't happen that it's your children. How many children of people that you know? How many? Start to name. If it was your friend, no, it doesn't exist. You can read it in the news. You can read it if it doesn't exist. You're not going to find one. Just like that, you won't find it. Because you don't know how real the exterior world is. You don't know it. It could be all fantasy for every one of us. It could be fantasy in that they subjugate to stories, and you can't see until they don't take us out of here. You can't see it. So then don't take as true everything. That's why I've always told you. I'll tell you what the story tells you, prophetically speaking, how I see it in the Bible. That's all I can do. From that on out, for it to be completely true, I can't assure it. I can't assure it that this world is 100 years old and it's a reality, and then all of a sudden they said, no, yeah, I subjugated you to a false reality with a story that everyone believed, but it's not true. Could that take place? I can tell you, of course it can. God is way too powerful. We could make that in a virtual game. Now, to take it to a divine level, and we could be in a virtual game that they make us believe anything. Maybe nothing ever existed. Of 100 years backwards, maybe nothing existed. Nothing. That it's all a story that's told and made up. And then part of the civilizations, you don't know that. You don't know that. I don't know it. You're not 100 years older to say, no, I've known. No. Yeah, you don't know anything. Just like that, you don't know anything. So then you don't know. You don't know. You don't have proof of anything. The proof of history, it doesn't cost God to create anything. Nothing to create. You never had a dream that you're someone else, that you lived elsewhere, and that as you were dreaming it, it was true. It was true. And you suffered, and you had another house. You lived a whole society and a whole fantasy, and while you were in the dream, it was true to you. Yes or no? Everyone has gone through that. You yourselves can create that. If you yourself in your consciousness can create and live realities that as you're living them, it is completely true, completely true. In fact, when you wake up, sometimes you're anguished of what you lived through, which is all an invention of yours. Just imagine God. If He cannot make an invention of this, of course. So then don't you worry anymore. Not for the food or the children that are eaten by the New World Order. Let them eat everything they want to eat. What the fuck do I care about? Exactly. Liars. All human beings are liars. Our dad is a liar. Exactly. He made up such a story, and then now we have all the legends, and that's the way it is. You know how many lies your dad told you. Then they'll end up saying only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. vanity to which there is no veil. Hold on, what about the history? It's a lie. It was a lie. It was a lie. It was a lie. And Noah, where was he? He never existed. What? Just imagine. Only lies is the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there's no veil. If it is men that makes themselves gods, then they're not gods. They're not gods. We don't know in what world we live in. The only reality is what you feel today and now. That is what the reality of your life is. And to take care of what you feel. Don't lend to the news what your emotion is for you to not get anger. If you achieve, and we all achieve that, we start to be immune to the world that's around us. We could give a fuck, and we don't fall into this theory of saying they deserve it. No. I could give a fuck. You're so cold. It's the only way of surviving here. It is the only way of surviving, and to come out of this reality, because for me, it is a surreal reality. It's surreal. Even if it is real, I want you to understand, even if it is real, that no is surreal. Very well. Even if it is real, it was real for everyone. For me, it was surreal. For me, it was surreal. Absolutely surreal. For everyone else, it was real. And people passed on. People died. People that believed that. Now, those that don't believe are set aside from that, so that they become surreal. This world is as crazy as that. Don't pay your emotions to the news of this world. Don't pay them. Pay no mind to them. That's why don't be watching all little videos. Before I used to be falling to that, to watch videos that this and that the Masons, that the symbols, all stupidities and the symbols, and that we're still investigating, and that this and that. Look at what happened here, and that they found. Is that going to make you more intelligent? No. It is designed so that your emotions fall into their game. What is better? Look for an entertainment, like, for example, to watch soccer. You'll have emotions, but there won't be like these, that your existence is ruined. No, it makes you suffer a bit. Boca does, that's true. It's not like this, though. This handles your emotions in such a way that's brutal. Before, I used to think that we had to be always looking at the news and what happened, and I want to find the truth behind that. Nah, you found the truth here. All this is done by Yahweh. That is the truth. There's no need to know anything else. So then, that is why it ends up saying, that's enough. No. First, you have to learn the lessons that He's given you, which is you separate from the stupidity. Let us learn to separate from this. These are the news. These are the whole bombardment about information. This is what we have to separate ourselves from, for them to not handle our emotions. Very well. And now we enter into the chapter. Wow, the fallacy of the just world. That's interesting. No, it is not our approach, our way of seeing things. Very well. Last week we did not eat Proverbs 3. We studied it once. I'll read it once again. Proverbs chapter 3. I know that we're number 4, but I'd like to read. Proverbs chapter 3. My child, never forget the things I have taught you, or instructions. For example, the one that I just gave you. And your heart may keep my words, or my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace. Can you apply to this text with everything that I just told you? How can you apply it? It'll give you what? Peace. Peace. And even more, it'll augment your life. For no one to manipulate your emotions, the news, out with them. All of the terror, out with it. The Bible, it says it. It is what Yahweh used. Yahweh used that. It says, news will come that will terrify you. That tactic, Yahweh invented it. That tactic, saying that they're going to be running when no one's persecuting them, and they're running like if they're being persecuted. It is that tactic. It starts today, that very tactic. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, which would be kindness and the truth. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart. So thou shalt find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Yahweh, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. The more you fear Yahweh, which is to know Yahweh and to be afraid the way he is, and everything that he stands for, you will know medicine to your body, to know, to watch the news and believe all the stupid shit that people say that is poison to your body. Directly poison. It poisons your soul, your heart. If it makes you feel, when you read it, news, record these words. Like it says, record these words. And you read news and you watch a video, it produces wrath or fear. You already know that you should not have watched that video. You should not have watched that video because you brought an information that is false, and it was designed only to make you feel that, so that your heart is filled like with something heavy, so that you feel fear or profound wrath. None of that should happen with an information. You have to have it as false. And that is, it'll be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor Yahweh with your substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. This is a law that Yahweh has placed. When you give, and you give to those which Yahweh, let's say, that way placed to be something good in your life, there's a retribution for you. Always there's a retribution in your life, a good one. When you give your life, an abundance starts. Despise not, my son, the chastening of Yahweh, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahweh loveth, he corrected. For whom Yahweh loveth, he corrected, and even as Father the Son, in whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. So then, if the path of wisdom is delightful, and the path and his paths and his ways are peace, then all of the news that come that influence fear are not wisdom. It's all the contrary. It's all the contrary. I want you to comprehend that and record it in your mind and separate it from your life. Separate it entirely, as if it didn't exist. Because it's poison, those news that say, oh, look at what they did. It could happen to your children. And there's a serpent that is biting you. Those news, imagine it, of a serpent that bites you with poison, and it's terrible. Poison, it's terrible. Maybe your kids are older already, but you're afraid that if you had children, they would be eating your children, sons of bitch, and you imagine in your mind, like the question, what if you had children? Oh, no, don't go. What if my grandma had a penis with me, my grandpa? Don't go there. Oh, if you had a baby, what if these sons of bitches were to eat it? Wouldn't you be worried? No, I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried. Even if I had a baby now, and I'm not gonna think about having a baby. But even if I don't think about having a baby now, if I had a baby, imagine the worry that's inexistent. I don't have a baby. I'm not planning to have a baby. But now I start. Oh, what if I had a baby? I'm imagining in my mind with a baby, something that won't happen, but I'll have the baby. I'll have the baby, and then I say, oh, they eat the babies. What am I gonna protect? How am I gonna protect my baby? And I go into a mode of protection. I have to protect my baby, and I have to take care of him. And whom do I go? I don't know where to go, and an anguish begins when I don't even have the baby. It is the story of the cat. It is the same story of the jack. That son of a bitch will not let me the jack shove your jack up your ass. It is inexistent. We should not worry about it. It's all. I like the question. When they were little, I took care of them. Exactly. But it never thought that they were going to eat them. But I took care of them because it was my task to take care of them. It was Leslie's and my task to take care of them, protect them. That's what we were here for. Exactly. Exactly. But just imagine how we would create anguishes that are for free without any sense. Now I have a baby that I don't have, but they want to eat it. I start to feel bad. Right, of course. What sons of bitches, and to top it off, just I get angry. Why do I feel all that if I don't even have a baby or the possibility of having one? Why do I feel all that? You see how the news are designed for that, only for that. And if you have a baby, they're not going to eat your baby. You just have to be responsible of taking care of it. Don't leave him in the street or alone in school. You're responsible for that baby. It's not the government. The whole world can eat you up, quote unquote, that you have an accident and it dies. You have to take care of him. You're responsible of that baby. But the insanity of humans is to augment. Don't let these serpents to come and inform you. The word inform you is to form within. So then all of the news will form you within. And I don't want for those news to form me within. To tell the truth, I don't. I could care less. I could care less at all. Do I care about them? Not even the hierarchy of the secret societies. I could care less about. Before I used to care about this. Before I wanted to know more and more. And I was checking and researching. And the rabbit was going real deep into the hole. I wanted to find as if we could do anything about it. As if that were all true. For me, nothing is true. And if I could place it in judgment in a case to fix it, I undo the knot and then I said, now I fix it. And I stay hours watching and this and that. No. And the only thing that they achieve is for you to get sick. That's what it is. So then, the text says very clearly, her ways are ways that are delightful. In all her paths are peace. That is what wisdom is. Her paths are peace. Shalom. She, wisdom, is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her. And happy is everyone that retaineth her. Exactly. That is why those questions are so magnificent, maybe in this reality. That's simulated or whatever, those questions, they made you ask them precisely for me to answer this to you. That's very important, to disconnect yourselves from the poison that is designed against us. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the tree of life. To those of her lay hand upon her. Yahweh with wisdom founded the earth. In the heavens he established. Of course, this flat earth is made with wisdom, with divine wisdom. With his knowledge, the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep, it doesn't say the law, it says prudence or good judgment. Keep prudence or good judgment and advice, and they shall be a life unto thy soul, and grace unto thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yeah, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. If we lay down and we're afraid, clearly it is because the poison of this world has arrived to us. That's the way it is. We are afraid. What are we afraid of? Of economy. What are we afraid of? Of what the government will do. The secret societies. That this will happen. That happens. A wise person is not afraid. They're not even worried about that. When you lie down, you shall not be afraid of sudden fear, neither, and your sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear. Exactly. A wise person is not afraid of a disaster that is sudden. Is not afraid of any disaster. Let it come, whatever it may come. Let it come. No, but let it come. I'm not afraid of I'm not even worried to that point that everybody has to get to. Nor the ruin of the wicked when it comes. Exactly. Exactly. Not even when the ruin of the wicked or of the righteous. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Now, when you have wisdom, you will not have afraid of sudden fear or the secret societies eat the children, or be afraid that the secret societies put things into your food and in the water. You will not be afraid of the ruins that come of the wicked when it comes. It doesn't matter. Because Yahweh will be your confidence. That Yahweh is you. Actually, that is the I am that I am. You have confidence in yourself? Only you, nothing else. Because Yahweh will be your confidence. Because the I am that I am shall be your confidence. And he shall preserve your feet from being taken into prison. But don't be confidence in God. No. Talking about something else. Confidence in yourself. Confidence in that you're not afraid of anything, whatever may happen. Although you may have to die. Why be afraid? None. 27. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in thine power to do it. Of course, learn to do good instead of being terrified with what they could do or what could happen. Don't tell your neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. Exactly. Don't lie and retain something when you can help someone that is in need. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. I mean, it goes without saying. And that neighbor is whoever lives at home, your neighbor, your friend, your kin, your lineage, whomever. Strive not with a man without a cause, if he have done thee no harm. In other words, don't be looking for problems if you don't have a reason to look for problems. Sometimes there are good reasons to look for a problem. But if there's no reason to look for a problem, don't look for a problem when it has makes no sense. Do not envy a violent man. It says unrighteous, but it says violent. Don't choose any of his paths. Now the Jews, when they explain this, when the Jews explain this, they say that it's referring to, because of the word in Hebrew, it's referring to the government. To not envy the rulers, in other words, the high classes that lead you, nor choose any of their paths. Exactly. If it's referring to the government, that's fine. Don't envy the government. Don't choose any of his paths. Because Yahweh hates the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he gives grace unto the lowly. Take that with a grain of peace. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory. The wise shall inherit glory, yet the fools shall be put to shame. In other words, they will be dishonored or a curse. The wise will inherit honor, yet the fools shall be put to shame. What are the wise going to inherit? Well, inherit the kingdom to be the rulers. Now the rest are going to be the fools. They're going to be the governors. That's the way it is. Very simple at that. Very simple to understand. Proverbs chapter 4. We had already advanced in chapter 4. And now let's go to number 1. Hear, O children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I gave you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law. It's not my law, but it's my doctrine, or my instructions. Do not forget it. For I also was the son of my father, dedicated and only one before my mother. And he taught me also, and said unto me, Let thine heart retain my words. Keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Acquire wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. Remember that? This is a woman. She has the figure of a woman. So then, you have to see wisdom as a woman. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. In other versions, as in the New Bible, in Spanish, I believe so, the New Spanish Bible, it says, conquer her. She shall make you noble. Embrace her, and she'll make you rich. In the Spanish DH, it says, love her, and she will exalt thee. Embrace her, and she will honor thee. An adornment of grace shall she give to thy head, and a crown of glory shall she deliver thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings. And the years of thy life shall be many. It's important because the things that it teaches the wise men of these things of wisdom, they multiply your years of life. That's the way it is. You can live a long time, but bitterly. You can live a short time, but very well. And to multiply years of life, I'm not saying that it's a longer life, but a better life. It could be longer. No one wants a long life that is painful. When it's saying that you shall have a long life, it's referring to, like, even though it would seem just of length of days, it's of quality of life. Down the path of wisdom have I guided thee, and through straight paths have I made you walk upon. It doesn't take away that it's also a long life in years also, but it's referring to quality and quantity, both things. In 4:11, in Torah Shabbat, it says, I have taught thee in the way of wisdom, I have led thee in the right paths. The NIV says, I guide you down the path of wisdom. I direct you down paths of rectitude. 12. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. I like this text because it says, when you walk down the paths of life, you will not find paths that are difficult to walk upon if you've added lots of wisdom. In the New Living Translation, it says, when thou walkest, when you walk, we're talking about the path of life, what you have to live through. When you walk, you won't be held back. What holds you back? Errors, men or women, couples, partners, friends with, what was it? Friends with benefits, they can hold you back. News can hold you back. Conspiracy theory videos can hold you back. Fears, a whole bunch of things. So then, it says, and if you have wisdom, the path that I will show you, when I will show you the path, down that path, when you walk down that path, you will not find obstacles. This is when you walk in the New Living Translation. When you walk, you won't be held back. When you run, you won't stumble. The NIV says when you walk, you won't find obstacles. When you run, you will not stumble. Exactly. The subject about this life is to learn how to avoid the stumbles. One of them is what I explained to you today. Today, whatever makes you or causes wrath at you or gives you fear, you have to avoid it. Don't eat that obstacle. If it makes you fear or wrath, that's its objective. Then you're poked. You're poked right there. The news poked you. The serpent bit you. So then, if you're capable of reading those news and you can laugh your ass off and say, wow, let's see what they do now, and it doesn't cause any emotion, then you can read it. If it causes an emotion, fear, wrath, don't read it. Or learn to read it till it doesn't cause anything, because we don't care. 13. Take hold of my instructions. Don't let them go. What advice? What I'm giving you. What I'm giving you, not today, but all the ones that I've given you before. Retain the advice. Take hold fast of it. Let her not keep her, for she is thy life. There it is. It is thy life. That's it. It's thy life. When the person that is giving you wisdom says, look, all these advice, it's not that it's okay if you do it as a practice or not, do whatever you want. No. Your life is at stake. The New International Version, it says, hold fast to the instruction. Don't let her escape. Take care of her, for she is your life. 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Actually, to enter down the path of the wicked is the easiest. To steal, to lie, to scam people, to not be honest, that is the path of the wicked at whatever level. If you don't give the best at your job, if you steal hours, if you do things easy, if you lie, if you scam, if you're not honest, that is the path of the wicked. Most people go down that path, but don't even enter. That's the point. That if you've entered, you have to come out from there. And don't step on that path again. Don't walk the path of the wicked, nor down the path of the evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it. Turn from it, and pass away. Here, the advice of Solomon is if you've entered, leave it, or else it wouldn't say leave it. It says leave it. Pass not by it, turn from it. If you're close to it, then turn from it. Pass away. The New Living Translation is a different one. It says, don't even think about it. Don't go that way. Turn away and keep moving. Of course, you may think, what is that path? The easy one, the easy path. The easy path of not telling the truth, of not doing your best efforts in what you do, in not being honest, in all things that you know that is not right. That is the path of the easy path. To keep rancor, it's a poison. If you don't take it out, it'll fill your glass and tear you apart. The only one that has a bad time is you with the rancor. It's like you have a glass and you think that somebody did something wrong. You just have to perceive it as wrong. And you fill that glass until it gets full. That's what happens. When it gets full and you don't empty it, the one who has that hate, that wrath, is the person that has rancor, not the other one. The one that has rancor is the other one. Is the one that suffers, not the other. He that is not holding a grudge, it goes past the glass of the grudge. It's as if the glass has some holes below and it starts to empty. Some is faster, some more slower, but it empties. But the grudgeous person, it stays there, and they're still, after years, they're still telling you what they have in their heart. That you did something to them one time, and they're still angry at it. They can't be happy because they have it there, not as a reminder, but something pending there. You can have it as a reminder and just laugh. But if something hurts to the begrudges person, it's something from childhood they can take out from childhood. A person that has a grudge, they don't learn to make holes in their glass and empty it. It has nothing to do with righteous person. They can't be a righteous person. They can't. They have a weight that holds them back. That's the way it is. For they do not sleep unless they've done evil. Who is that? The people that go down the path of evil. Unless they cause some to fall, they lose sleep. For they eat the bread of the wickedness and drink the wine of violence. The New Living Translation, it says they eat the food of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. It's talking in cases of other people, of whatever the paths that we should not walk upon. Notice when it says, for they don't sleep unless they've done evil. Sometimes they don't sleep not because they haven't done evil, but thinking about the evil that has been done to them. And they can't even sleep. They cannot even sleep thinking that they've been hurt. That they cannot understand how it was done to them, broken their little heart, or they have filled them with an injustice that they don't deserve. That they don't deserve. Maybe they don't. Maybe. It's not so much as that they say, because I've known cases of people that hold a grudge and they tell you some stories of what they do to them, and you hear them and it says, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh no, but they broke my heart. No, fuck off. Yeah. I mean, you don't know what actual pressure is for them to insult you or that you feel something bad. Because actually, they're so delicate like a flower, like a snowflake, that they keep that and they don't let them be excellent people. That's the problem. The people that hold a grudge. Actually, to hold a grudge is the destroyer of the human being. They destroy them, like hate, like envy, all evil things that Yahweh surrounded us with. If we're intelligent, we're going to learn to not destroy rancor. People that hold a grudge cannot sleep, yet the path of the just is like the path of the light of day that shines ever brighter until it is a full day. I would say this text, I would place it in the place in number 19, because I don't like the way that Solomon wrote it. Actually, I don't like it, but I don't like for it to end with something negative. I like it backwards. Number 19 now should be number 18, and this should be number 19. I'll explain why. Number 19 says, but the way of the wicked is like total darkness. They have no idea what they are stumbling over. And then it changes to another subject. As my child, pay attention to my words. But 18 and 19, I don't like them in that order. I'll read how the text says in the original sequences. But the righteous of the path is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day. But the path of the wicked is like total darkness. They have no idea what they are stumbling over. No, I would put it backwards. I'll read it backwards. The way of the wicked is like a total darkness. They have no idea what they're stumbling over, but the way of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day. That is how this should be read. The path of the wicked is like this, but the path of the righteous is like this. I don't know why Solomon said it. The righteous one is like this, and the wicked is like this. No, it is better to end with the part of the righteous, not with the unrighteous. Okay, what does this text mean? Look, the New Living Translation, it says almost the same thing. It says the way of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day. Well, do you know how the Jews explain this text aside from everything that the text already says, which says that the path, the way, life of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day. So then we never know where we're headed because there's no light until progressively light augments. That is how we have understood it well. The Jews say that this text means, because the words in Hebrew, blah, blah, blah. Just what it means is that the way of the righteous is very hard. Because to walk at the first days of daylight is not easy. It is cold. There's kind of like a bit of a fog that causes it to feel more cold. You can't see anything, and you have to walk. That is the way of the righteous person. It's a path of pain. It's a path of injustices. And it is a path that will not give you any return in this life. That the righteous person obtains their reward in the following life. That is how they explain it. All of them, from the Talmud to the modern Jews, that the way of the righteous is painful, hard, while they're on this earth, and that barely the day of light is referring to the new life, the upcoming world. The text could mean that, and it may be right because of the words in Hebrew, which says, the way of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, or like walking in the first hours in the morning with cold. You don't want to, precisely, it's the harder part of walking. You can't see anything because there's no light. The light in the morning, like before the first light, is still dark. You know that it's gonna come, but it's not the same as walking with the sun. So it says that the path of the righteous persons, that they're gonna walk through darkness, injustices. It's not gonna be pretty until barely at the end of the path it starts to get lighter. I like that explanation. It's good, because I also don't like it for me to say that the righteous path of the just is all nothing but light. When you're righteous, it's all straight. No. For me, it is when there's more problems. The more righteous you are, it becomes difficult. But it's precisely to test you and to test you out. To test your character to see if you're really righteous. You test yourself, not God. It's like temperance, like when you prepare a knife that you heat up and it gets cold to reach a certain point that you would not obtain unless it went through extreme heat and extreme cold. So then that process, when life is given us temperance, is painful. Nothing is easy. So then, I can understand that the way of the righteous is difficult to walk upon. And it's not like saw this text before that I like it. I still see it that way. Our light goes and augment that. That's perfect. That's fine. But I'm giving a deeper explanation. The righteous paths is difficult until someday the light becomes clear. When we understood God, that's when that happened. In my point of view, that is complete light. That I don't need more light. That what would be the other light? Epstein files. What is the Vatican doing? What the Vatican does in like black masses or things like that. or how many Putin has killed, I could give a fuck. What more light can I see of seeing who Yahweh is? That I used to worship Yahweh before. I wanted to be like Him, wanted to be like Jesus. Now I see Yahweh the way He is, and how long He will last on this earth, why He designed them that way. When I see Him the way He is, and a super extraordinary being that goes way past good and evil, that made this creation to give it to a group of people, that is the greatest light that I can see. There's no greater light in Scripture. Yesterday I was watching, I don't know, I don't understand. Sometimes I don't understand. I was watching, do you remember when Salas gave the explanation of Revelation 17, that he upset me because he didn't mention me? You all remember, right? Well, yesterday, this young man, where he presented the chat, is a young man that I like. He's a Mexican guy that lives in Bolivia, I believe, but I really like him. His channel is Zionism and Politics. I like it. He talks about Judaism. Anyone that talks about against Judaism, I like them. So then, this man, he said, in honor of Saul Salas, he published it. In honor of Saul Salas, a homage to Saul Salas. And Saul presented the subject very well. But I started to read the comments below of the people, because he uploaded it again. He says, in homage of Saul Salas. When I started to read the comments, I said, wow, people would like to know the truth. And he said, what an extraordinary message that Saul's giving. I never saw that light. I always thought that the Vatican was the beast. How incredible. This guy has an incredible light. Well, he had, because he's no longer with us. The thing is that the subject for us is extremely known. Well, not known. It came from the eternal truth. From the eternal truth, the subject. And it's not the only one we've got. It's all light, what we have. But people see those rays of light and they say, wow. I say, why don't they want more light? Maybe they can't have more light. But yeah, it really called it. I was happy to watch it again. Wow, it gave me an impression to see Saul again speaking about Revelation 17. Incredible. Incredible. One is still speaking after you pass away from this life. The path of the righteous is like the light of the gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter. In other words, don't wait for your life to be easy. Imagine that you're in the morning with cold walking, that it goes in augmentation until the day is perfect, but if you walk down that path of righteousness, then there will be all light someday. For me, this interpretation has already been done. For me, it's already been done. Doesn't matter if it's difficult or not anymore. The light is for the cover to fall off and to see Yahweh naked. That is what light being made is. Because when Adam and Eve, symbolically speaking, I'll explain it now. Symbolically speaking, they ate from the tree of science of good and evil. They saw each other as naked. That is where light was seen. They were blind before, in complete darknesses, and their lights were opened. Their eyes were opened, and they noticed that they were naked. They noticed that they were naked. The question is, were they naked before? Of course they were naked before. And why didn't they see each other? Because there was blindness. There was blindness, that we could call it innocence, but you can call it whatever. To me, they made me believe because of that horrible witch of Ellen White that was a prophet of God. Now I think that she was a prophet of God, that he trained her to. So then this prophet of God, Ellen G. White, made me believe that they had a light of garment, and I believed that for years, that they had a light garment. It's so much so that my mom, and also the church, my mom would tell me in the church, would confirm it, the Adventist church would, that we, when we're redeemed, we no longer have to have this types of clothes. We would have the same garments of Adam and Eve. Imagine that. What was the garments of Adam and Eve? It was nothing. The Bible says that it was nothing, so then they're lying to me. The garments of Adam and Eve was light that was not seen anywhere, no part of your skin. And when they sinned, that light disappeared. And so they said, "Oh, whoppa, you're naked." What the Bible says, and the light that would cover them disappeared. Wow. How do they lie to us, to our faces? No. They were naked, and they didn't know that they were naked. And when their eyes were opened, they noticed that they were naked. They were always naked. So then, we are completely naked, thinking that we were dressed with the justice of God. They made us believe that we are dressed because Paul made us believe that our garments were the garments of justice of God, and that we had white garments that was justice. We ate from the tree of the science of good and evil, which is the eternal truth. You noticed that you had no garments, that the justice of God was a lie, and that we were entirely naked without any protection from God. That's where we noticed that we have to protect ourselves. That's the way it is. You are the God that has the obligation of putting on your own garments, your own justice. That justice, that imputed justice of Jesus, is a lie. And that justice, that imparted justice that Christianity teaches you, is also a lie. That you cannot develop a justice starting with an injustice. That is the imputed justice. Imputed justice is the one that Jesus gives you supposedly once you accept Him. And imparted justice is the one that you develop based on the imputed justice. If the imputed justice does not exist, then there's no imparted justice. Because the imputed justice was always a complete fuckery. It does not exist. It never existed. No Jesus ever came to die for you, to justify you. He didn't come with that reason. He didn't come to justify you. So then you were naked. You needed to eat from the fruit to notice that you were naked. So then the path of the righteous starts to shine. For me, it already shined. From the moment that I saw God, who He was, I noticed that there's no Satan. I noticed that they will all be saved. Not all will be kings. And I noticed that Jesus does not come back from heaven. I noticed that God will not be the God forever of this earth. And I also noticed that the God Creator will place a government of human beings. And He retires from the ruling of this earth. I noticed of all that. So then for me, the light was made. The path of the wicked is like darkness. They have no idea what they're stumbling over. And yeah, exactly. Whom do I consider to be wicked? Well, if I have to consider wicked those who do not know justice and truth, then the whole world is wicked. The Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, and all the rest of the religions. And what do they stumble over? With the Bible, the Talmud, the religions, with Ellen G. White, the prophets, and the stupid shit they write in their own God, they all stumble. What are they going to say? Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. That is what they'll say. 20. My child, pay attention to my words. Listen carefully to my words, and just to incline thine ear. It means you listen more. You want to separate the external noise, and you want to focus the one that's speaking to you. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. I love this. These words, not just are they going to help you to give you a better life, but also they are life to those who find it. and health to all their body. What words that are more true than this way of a Messiah? Solomon, like I've already told you, this book was written representing the Messiah. There's no doubt about it, or else it doesn't help anyone. Solomon is a way, a symbol of messianism. Of course, then it was Yahweh when he came by in the flesh of a man, made himself called Yeshua, Jesus, however you want to call him. But Solomon is the image, the symbol of the Messiah. For how wise he was, and because he was a king. Because he was a king and he was wise. He was the king with more of an extension of territory of Israel. He was the king that created the temple, that made the temple. So then there are many things that the Messiah will do, because the temple, we can see it as a religion. The religion was there, yes, but he created, he made it official in a place, created the temple. So then Solomon represents the Messiah, which will create the temple of worship for all of humanity. The wise part that you have to pay attention to. So then notice what it says. What the Messiah says, not Solomon. The words of the Messiah are life unto those who find it, and medicine unto all his body. There had to be words in the Messiah that are a medicine to the body. And how true it is that we were given health to our flesh by Hammer. Of course, it doesn't matter how much effort Hammer put into it. If the Messiah does not repeat them, they would not have served, because the Messiah has to repeat those words for humanity. Hammer is not the Messiah. Hammer was a special elect to receive wisdom that was not had, completely chosen. He had to go through the pain of the loss of his son and his wife to develop and to make him think, to draw the conclusions. Yet it's all through the pain. If he had stayed with holding a grudge, he would not have achieved anything. But he went from holding a grudge, he lost his son, his wife, and a testicle. It really cost him a literal testicle. You know how people say, this costs you a testicle. It literally cost him a testicle to develop Germanic medicine, a son and his wife. But it would be of no good if, in other words, there would be no Messiah if the Messiah would not repeat that wisdom of medicine. It is marvelous. So then all those who are calling themselves the Messiah and all the rest, if they don't understand that our conflicts are a product of emotions, whether we control it or not, doesn't matter, but it is a product of conflicts, emotional ones that we have had. It cannot be the Messiah. The Messiah has to actually, in his words, to give medicine to the whole body, and the medicine was given through the Germanic medicine that I call divine medicine. It is limited, but it has really helped us a lot. And this will augment when the Messiah receives more authority on behalf of Yahweh that he has to give him. This will be absolutely the light of day, medicine will. But for now, the Messiah has to give, through his words, a help of medicine. That's why it says. Because it says who they are? The words. It says, my son, pay attention to my words, incline thine ear unto my reasons. Do not depart from thine eyes, and keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life. And to those who find it in medicine to your entire body, because they are my words, they are medicine to your entire body. Not just is medicine the word, but also what it teaches you. And it taught you that the Germanic medicine, every ailment of human beings responds to a conflict of the psyche, of the brain, and the organ. In that triangulation, he received an impact. And that impact, it impacted into the brain and in the organ. And the organ grows, decreases, or starts, or no longer works. That is a divine wisdom. There's no turn of the page. It cost Hammer an actual testicle for that divine wisdom. That's why I would like to once again check out all the concepts. I have no new concepts about that, but I know that it's kind of like it's not in YouTube, it was lost, and to present it little by little, not to go against medicine, the modern medicine, but like kind of like a help so that it's soft, like because of these sons of bitches. To present it like give or take, you already understand, but to reflect the concepts, I would find this very important. I like it a lot. For they are life unto those who find it, and medicine unto all your body. Above all things kept, keep your heart. There it is. Here it is. Wow. The heart that appeared in the picture. You see how the picture says, what did it say in the picture? Treat with care. What did you put on there? Treat with care, handle with care. What did the picture say? What did it say in English? Oh, fragile, fragile. Handle with care. Yeah. It says fragile. Handle with care. Thank you. Above all things kept, keep your heart, for it is very fragile. For of it, life pour it out. Life comes from the heart. Because the heart is kind of like the one where it pours out physical and spiritual life. Because the heart is everything. When I do something with effort, it says I put my heart into it. I love you with my heart. The symbol of love is the heart, not the brain. Imagine I love and I put a brain. A brain crossed over with two arrows. That would be ugly. I'm also not going to put a sexual organ. That would be ugly. Now, the sign of love is a heart. The sign of love is a heart. This is the sign, the universal sign of love. But not just of love, but of the feelings, of the emotions. It all comes from the heart. And there are studies that have been made that the first impact that they call in Germanic medicine, the impact when the emotional shock comes, when there's a situation that a shock is generated, which is called the DHS, that you already know, the Dirk Hammer syndrome, that his dad named him that way. That is when we go through a situation that really gives us an impact. It catches us off guard. And to top it off, we keep it later for us. We keep it like it shocks us in such a way that we don't speak it with no one. In that situation, Hammer said that it impacts the brain, the organ, and the psyche. What is the psyche? Many say the psyche is the heart. Then I don't know if it's true or not, but it says that in the shock, first it comes out like something through electricity, but also connected through the heart, to the brain, and from the brain it impacts the muscle. I can't assure you that this is completely that way. I can't assure you. But apparently the heart has something that goes way past what we think. So then the impact is kind of like the representation of the soul. The heart is the representation of the soul. The representation of our being is the heart. Because or else we wouldn't say, we have to put your heart into it. When Yahweh says you're going to love me with all your heart, what is he referring to? What is he referring to? There's something more in the heart of what we think. The organ not just pumps the blood, it spreads life, because Yahweh also says in the law and the Torah that the blood, we don't need blood because in the blood there is life. And if it's a representation of life, the blood is the one that takes the blood to all the organ or the human body, it's the heart and the whole system. So then it is the one that gives us life, it emanates life for us, and the emotions and all the rest. That is why it says, above all things kept, keep your heart, for of it does life spring. In the Torah Samat, it says, keep your heart with all vigilance, for of it life emanates. That's why I told you, how do we keep our heart? The Bible also says that the heart of the humans is evil, evil, so evil, that who will know it of how evil it is? I know he insults us on a permanent basis through his prophet. I don't care about that. It's his way of insulting. It says that we're bugs, anything. But in turn, he says, well, yeah, they're gods too. They're gods. The thing here is that the heart, we could say that it is the base of evil too, of the evil impulses. Notice that adulteries, Yahweh, in the form of Yeshua, said, oh no, if you adulterate with her in your heart, in the heart, I didn't even get to the adultery, just in your heart, it's adultery. You're condemned already by adultery. In the heart is where bad things are formed also. So then what does it mean to take care of your heart? It is to take care of your path, of to be careful of doing things correctly and not incorrectly, of every decision that you make. The possessions that you have, all of the possessions in Germanic medicine, what? The possession of materialism, of material things, they are in the heart. And I end up thinking that the love of couples, every one of the two sees it as a possession. That is why it is represented in the heart. Because if a person loses a house, it affects their heart because there's the loss of territory. And the territory is everything that you possess. So then the wife will see her husband as a territory. It's obvious. No matter if he sees him mentally, visually, if he doesn't even know how he sees him, it's his territory. It's his territory. And also his children are his territory. And also everything he possesses is his territory. And men, the same thing. His wife is a territory. His children is a territory. And if he has lovers, it's also a territory. It's all his territory. It's all his territory. What he believes that it's his. If he has a business, it's his territory. So then, of course it's that way. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So then the problem is when there's a problem of territory with the heart. So then maybe, actually, it has not much to do with love, the heart is, but actually with the territory. We identify it as love, but sometimes we confuse love with territory. Or we can mix both things. So then, how do we take care of the heart? Well, wise men will say, don't have anything. If you don't have anything, you can't lose anything. Okay, but follow me. If you don't have anything, you cannot lose anything. If you don't have anything, there's nothing to lose, nor for them to take from you. The more you have, the more you have to lose. If you have a house, you can lose the house. And you get a huge problem with territory in the heart, in the arteries. If you don't have a house, what house will they take out if you don't have any for them to take out? So then there are people that prefer to live on the street because they don't have anything. And they don't have any cardiac problems because they don't have anything. So then it's the way that we should live? No, of course not. Of course not. Because we have to have things. Even if the heart goes with it. The Messiah said, notice that your properties, they get ruined here. It is better. Let's read the text. I can't remember where it is. Let's see if you can look it up for me. The people On the 10th, if they take his tent, yeah, he has something. He has something. He has something. The millionaires and billionaires, of course, the more millions they have, the more they have to lose. So then they have nothing else than to make good investments in augmentin. When they don't augment it, they're losing. Or do you understand what I'm saying? That hold on, they have 1,000, they have 1 billion. He's lost 10 million. What is that? For them, it's terrible. Yeah, heart attacks come. Did they give us the text already? I'm looking for it. Nobody put anything. Matthew 6:19. Yeah, let's see if that's the one. Let's see what it says. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Yeah, that's fine. But I was looking for where it says, for where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. That's where it follows, right? It continues with that. Where does it say that? For where your treasure is where your heart is also. In the same text? Look it up. Let me know when you find it. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Right. I mean, the agenda is Yahweh's, and it's correct. Right, but you're going to have problems in your liver because you don't have anything. You have the conflict of hunger. Conflict of hunger. No, yes, obviously, you'll have other conflicts. Right, it's this life, you came here to suffer, period. Yes, of course. You have to learn how to deal with it. Yeah, of course. Welcome to suffering, whether you have money or not. Matthew 6:21. Right, of course, this one. We needed one more. Gabi, the last one. For it says, lay not treasures, blah, blah, blah. And it says, lay up treasures in heaven. Well, you have to explain that. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. What a son of a bitch, Yahweh. He didn't explain that. It was Yahweh speaking. What a son of a fucking bitch. Because he says a phrase like that, doesn't explain it, but he's telling you the truth. That text, I barely understood it when I understood what Hammer explained to me, or else I would never have understood. Modern medicine does not understand that all the heart problems come due to the loss of territory. There are some other conflicts, but the greatest of all, lost territory. The modern priests, they don't understand that. They say it's cholesterol in the arteries. But the Creator, hiddenly, says, don't make yourselves too much treasures, because where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. He's telling you a truth that's so great. Every territory that you have, your heart is the owner of those territories, is the owner. In the moment that you lose it, your heart suffers. There's no way to avoid it. You lose it, and your heart suffers. You lose it, and it is human territory, material territory, virtual territory, spiritual territory, total territory. Total territory. Some people, you tell them you're not going to go to heaven because you're a sinner, and already they have territory problems right there, depending on how they see the territory. It's all territory. Tremendous. There you're gaining new territory. Hell. So then, above all things, keep your heart, for life comes from it. How do we keep the heart? Well, actually, by being just, not leaving any wickedness enter into us, because since the heart is the one that keeps all that. Wickedness, injustice, perversity, envy, grudges, they keep it, envy, jealousy, and now possessions. You have to be careful with the possessions. You have to have possessions, yes. What you should not do with the possessions is to put them at play, put them at stake, to put them at stake. What does that mean? It is to do dangerous things with the possessions, like giving them as a guarantee, to take money from them as to inversions that could turn out bad and to end everything. I'm not talking about a game, because for me the game is to play something for money. I mean, it's insane. I don't even have to say it. You have to be very stupid to play, to gamble. If you want to gamble with money in certain things, I'm not going to get into it. But money where your property is tied down to it, there are people that have lost houses in Las Vegas, and it's a problem. Not in Las Vegas, but in your cell phone. Because now you can bet through everything. And the kids have grabbed onto that drug, and they bet and they bet. It's insanity that I don't care for that today. I don't care about speaking it today, at least. But taking that out, if you have a property, you have to secure it. Secure it, not with insurance, but make sure that you pay for it as soon as possible. There's no possibility for it to be taken out, to not put it in the name of a friend, for them to scam you, like in the case of family members that bought a house. Since he was getting divorced, he put it in the name of a friend, and then later when he wanted to get it back, they said, no, it's mine. We're going to move in with it. And he couldn't enter into his house anymore, and it was left as his, not put it in the name of family members, all the rest, because they're going to shit on you, and your heart is there. You're already doing gambling. You're playing with that. Not to like to co-sign for something, or even something yours. I put my house up. If this business is not good, then I'll put my house there. Well, what if your business goes down the drain, then your house goes down with it too. Should we have things? Yeah, we should have things. But don't lose them, because your heart is at stake. It's all I'm telling you. Should you have things? Of course you should. The more things you have, it's better. I say yes. I say yes. I'm against you not having anything. No. But you have to know that everything that you buy, it's like your heart gets bigger and bigger. And if something happens to that, then something happens to your heart. I still don't have a technique of saying, yeah, this is my property, but my heart has not possessed it. If I lose it, I lose it. Maybe it can be achieved, that level of perfection and ascension, of saying, yeah, that field is mine, but if I lose it, I don't care. If it were so, there's no problem. There is no problem. Notice that the problems, there's everything, even in inheritances. When you take possession of something and then you lose it, and in love, do you remember that what I told you that Hammer told one time, that some guy came with a heart problem because he told him, look, my wife left me because he said I was cold, I didn't love her, whatever, and left me. My wife did. And ever since she left me, it's like I lost the wanting to live. And then the wife got with someone else, got divorced, got with another man. One day when they were walking, the guy sees the wife with a neighbor and with children and everything. That's when he went to go see Hammer. That's when he went to go see Hammer, and he told him, I have such a terrible pain. I don't know what I can do. So Hammer told him, look, if I tell you and help you to get better, that your wife got better, since this took place 3 years ago, you're going to die. Because about territory fight, because you're still under the pain of the heart, you have not recovered. You're in the active conflict. If you end this conflict and you close the case then the recuperation will start. There's no way that you can be saved. You will die. You cannot recuperate from that. You get a heart attack because the volume of the conflict, the conflictive mass is so great. That is how great the recuperation will be. If it were a loss of territory for a year or less, then when the recuperation comes, then it doesn't kill you. But if it's more than 2 years, there's no way for you to avoid anything. You get a complete heart attack. What did Hammond recommend? To go once a week, and look at the lady, and to get upset. To look at the lady and get upset once a week. That is what Hammer told him. Every now and then you have to pass by and look. And for you to get upset, don't ever recuperate from that, because you will die. That's the way it is. Keep your heart. That is what God gave us, this way of health. The conflictive mass is way too big, then you die. If your mass of fear is too big, then you die because of your lungs, that it will kill you. Or the recuperation, or to continue on with the fear. It's not, the lung cannot recuperate.
Por eso hay que tener
That's why you have to have
terror.
You have to be afraid.
Algo que no puede ser. Miedo al miedo.
Fear of fear.
Así hay que tenerle miedo al
Fear
miedo.
of fear.
Y especialmente al miedo
Especially
existencial.
existential
No al
fear.
miedo común. Porque yo puedo
Not
tener miedo a
common fear,
manejar, miedo a
because
estas
you can
cosas,
be
eso no
afraid
te
of
da cáncer de
driving, things
pulmón.
like that.
Lo que te da cáncer
like
de
that.
pulmón es miedo
It
a
is
perder la
fear
vida.
of losing your life.
Miedo a perder la
fear
existencia. Por
of
eso
losing your existence.
casi todos
That's why almost all
las personas que están en los
of the
hospitales
people
terminan con un diagnóstico, aunque no escrito,
sent
de
to the
cáncer de
hospital,
pulmón. Todos.
they all
todos.
get, even if it's
¿Por
not
qué?
written,
Porque cuando saben que se van
they
a morir,
get lung cancer.
inmediatamente el pulmón empieza a desarrollar cáncer de pulmón.
Because when the
Y
people
es lo que
know
llaman
that
después la
they're going to
medicina,
die,
que hizo
they
metástasis. Se le
get
fue a todos lados.
metastasis. It
Ustedes
went
saben
everywhere. You already
que
know.
no es que se le fue a ningún lado, desarrolló nuevos conflictos.
That
Y el
it's not
último
that it went
conflicto
anywhere,
de
but
desarrollo
he
es
developed
ese.
more
Cuando
conflicts.
ya saben que
The
le
last
queda
one is that
poco
one,
tiempo
where
de
they
vida,
have a little
es
to
casi
live.
inevitable que
It
la
is almost
persona que no
inevitable that the
tenía nada en los
person that
pulmones
didn't have anything
desarrolle
to develop
cáncer de pulmón. Ahora,
that.
¿el cigarrillo te
No.
da cáncer de pulmón? No, claro que no, absolutamente no.
Smoking causes that?
Absolutamente
No,
no.
of course
Pero
not.
los
Absolutely
miedos
not. But the
existenciales
existential fears exist.
que las personas tengan
That the
en su
people
vida, que
have
pueden
in their
ser de
life,
jóvenes
which could be
o
when they're
mayores o
younger
más
or
grandes,
older,
hacen
they
de
cause
ese pulmón
for that
un desarrollo de
lung to
las
develop
células para tratar
the cells
de absorber más oxígeno.
to
Una
try to
locura.
absorb more oxygen. Complete
Si
insanity.
es largo,
If it's
es
long,
largo el conflicto,
if the conflict is long,
la muerte está asegurada.
then death is assured.
Asegurada.
Assured.
Por eso hay que tenerle miedo
That's why you should be afraid
a guardar el corazón,
in keeping your heart in fear
tener miedo.
of being afraid. That's why I'm telling you, don't watch news. Take it like this world is virtual and doesn't exist. You were put into this virtuality and all the story, the stupid things of all the things that surround you is laughable. Take it that way, and you will not develop fear nor wrath. Live your life at peace. It is the way of wisdom. Fight for yourselves to be righteous. Go down the path of righteousness. Don't get into the path of the wicked. Don't get into the path of where this world wants to subjugate you into and wants to poke you and wants to teach you what the world does to the people. Come out from there. We don't care about any of that. Follow with your life that the conflicts don't come because of what you eat. It is because of what you feel. Those emotions and what you could lose, like the things which are territory or terrain. Above all things kept, keep your heart, for out of it issues life. This text, I understand it once again, once understood Germanic medicine. This one and the one that Yeshua said. It says, where your assets are is where your heart will be. Yes, it is bound to that. This is super deep wisdom, absolutely deep. So then, that is what I want to teach today. I'll stop there. And something that everyone knows, that in this life everything passes. It's all loaned to you. No matter how much money you make, you'll leave it. It is just your turn to have it. Just like we came naked, we leave naked. No matter how much you make or earn, you'll leave it. It's better that you enjoy it when you're living. If you achieve to do something, it is to enjoy it in life. Psalm 78, 1 through 2. All my people, listen to my teachings. Open your ears into what I'm saying. For I shall speak by means of a parable. I shall teach you hidden lessons, hidden from our past. Suck at the liberty's breast. You will always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you. You may forget, but she is always there. Liberty within the heart. Precisely today we spoke of the heart. Above all things, we'll go back to that text. I didn't finish that chapter. We'll go back to that text. Above all things, keep your heart. Above all things, keep your heart. That was the third text that I also didn't know which one to use in the invitation. The first one, the one of the path of the righteous, it's like the light of the dawn, and above all things, keep your heart, because it is marvelous. Next Shabbat, we'll continue to speak about that text, and we'll finish this chapter, and we'll advance into the following chapter. It might be short, I'll tell it to you right now. Aside from Brian's birthday, Boca Place. In Boca Place, if I checked it out, it was at 12:30. I started 11, 12:30. We have 1:30 to speak only. It's not that it's super short. It'll be a 1 hour less. So next Shabbat we should meet. And again, the destiny is written. The end is inevitable. God is Argentinian, Semper Fi. Let's go the eternal truth. Let's go the path of the righteous. Let's go your heart. Let's go my heart. Let's go Boca. Today you already know. Don't care about anything, even if they tell you that some disaster was coming. I was going to say something. An imminent disaster is coming. One of those HBs that nothing is left. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything, because if we were to come, you're not even going to feel it. First of all, they don't exist. That is how they dominate the world. With the HBs, they don't exist. Boca and Racing on Friday, so it'll be. So then it'd be the other one. Okay, I looked and it'd be the other Shabbat. So then this Friday, it'll be a short. It'll be not this one, the upcoming one, or the next one. I was looking at the schedule. It could be. Yes, okay. So then we play on Friday, right? Against Racing. Oh wow! Oh, bad. You said against Racing. Let's see. Let's look here. The averages live. Yeah, we'll check that out later. I think it'll be 2 weeks. Because next Friday, yeah, we play against Racing. Tomorrow we play. So then, what did I tell you? Above all things, keep your heart. Keep your properties. Handle with care. Take care of it. Handle it with lots of care. Because of it, the life pours out. And above all things, don't ever get into the paths of the unrighteous people of this world. It is all a lie. Record that. You live in a surreal world. It's like a dream. what they told you, what they say, what the government, and treat it as it's all fantasy, and you'll be so happy. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to cooperate if this ministry brings you life. If these words are life for your life, don't forget to cooperate with this ministry and to give us a like and to give us a comment. Hallelujah to every one of you. Happy St. Valentine's and happy birthday, Brian. Hallelujah to every one of you.